Hi, everyone. Bob Dietrich here with the ADHD Toolbox, and we've got an awesome episode for you today. And this is something that you have not seen before because nobody's really kind of pulled the curtain back on some of these Facebook groups that you see springing up, which are awesome, right? These Facebook groups are a great place for you to go and share information and connect with people and start to understand what's going on in the ADHD community and what's really going on at home with moms and families and children real time. And so we're going to pull the curtain back on this today, and we're going to talk to a mother and founder of ADHD Together. Her name is Dana Mazzonna. And Dana is a Green Bay Packer fan, but we're not going to hold that against her. No, I'm kidding. So Dana is a mom, founder of ADHD Together on Facebook. And you can find her, just go to Facebook, do a search ADHD Together. It'll pop right up. Currently, she's got about almost 25,000 people that follow the site. It's kind of sprung up out of nowhere. And we're going to talk to her about this group. So Dana, welcome to our program today. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Yeah, so I'd like to talk to you about lots of different things today, because it's like, what is it like to manage 25,000 people who are coming on and putting stuff on? And, you know, so we're going to talk about all that. And really, ultimately, the point is, how can we come together and use these awesome groups that you've started to come together as a community, to create safe spaces like you have, for us to vent, or for us to get resources that work, you know, kind of like the ADHD Toolbox is as well, you know, and just bring this community together so we can handle ADHD, manage it, and really let that shining brilliance of ADHD come through with the families and the people. So let's start a little bit with your story. How did this occur? How did it start?
My 14-year-old, well, almost 15-year-old was diagnosed with a learning disability at 5. He had a little bit of a speech impediment, and he exhibited signs of being very hyper all the time. Like he had delayed speech, so he wasn't talking in full sentences by 4 years old. All his other motor skills were on point, you know, on time. But he was a little delayed in speaking, and he had some trouble reading at 5 years old and in kindergarten. So there were suspicions that he was possibly attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And as a mom, I didn't want to believe it at 5 years old. I just thought he was just a little boy, you know, doing boy things.
Right.
So it got progressively difficult in kindergarten, and then in first grade, and then at 7 we diagnosed. He was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD. So it's been a tough 10 years, to say the least, with struggles and battles. And it has taken me 10 years to realize that we have to do positive focus and positive parenting and, you know, conscious discipline as opposed to, you know, other routes. And it's been a struggle. So I was struggling with the diagnosis and how to cope and deal and parent my child who had these struggles and these problems and this defiance and lack of impulse control. And I would reach out to my local moms group on Facebook, like, please help. What do I do? This is my son, you know, crying for help, because I was struggling too. And they would judge and bash and say things like, oh, it's bad parenting. You need to do X, Y, and Z. And it made me really feel bad. It really made me to feel like, is it bad parenting? Am I doing something wrong? You know? So I created a safe haven for people who were like me and struggling and being judged, for people to go and get out their events and their struggles when they're having a bad day at the end of the day, dealing with a long day with their child. You know, and they're in the bathroom crying like I was, crawled in a ball, you know, at the end of the day. And I had nobody to talk to or nobody who understood, you know, because there are still people out there who believe that ADHD is not real. So I created this ADHD Together for me to vent and for other people to vent. And we started out with 3 members, which was a friend of mine and my husband at the time. And they were the only 3 members in the group 3 years ago in January. This January will actually be 4 years. And we just started adding people, and people just started joining. And then this time, right around this time last year, we decided to go where we had to approve the member requests, because it was just getting so overwhelmingly, people were going in there and they were just not people who needed to be in the group. You know,
Yeah.
they were just trying to use it as a platform for other things.
Right.
So we had to go to approving member requests. And last year we hit 3,000 members at this time. So in 1 year, we have gone over 20,300 members in 1 year.
Wow.
And the growth is just crazy insane. It's like mind blowing to me, because I really never expected this at all. I really never expected that group to maybe even go over 1,000 people.
Right. Yeah, you're just a mom looking for answers, right? And looking for a safe place to talk to people that are going through the same thing, so you know you're not alone. And all of a sudden you're handling 25,000 people.
And it's like, wow, gosh, there's 25,000 people out there in this world that are going through the same exact struggles that I went through, and they're dealing with the same exact things that I'm dealing with, and they're faced with the same struggles. And I know that what I've learned over the past 10 years can help me or help them. And there's older, you know, people in the group who have been through this and maybe ADHD themselves and can offer great advice and support. And we have a zero tolerance policy in the group for negativity and judgments. So they, depending on what a person posts, it's either, if it's very negative and judgmental, you can get a warning. But if it's severe, you're just immediately removed and blocked from the group. We block you. We do not tolerate it. Zero tolerance policy. So
got it. And you know, it's weird that people would come in there and do that. But I think, you know, having these types of groups and being able to regulate that is a good thing. So what kind of things were happening that you kick out of the group?
Well, you know, as I mentioned, we are global. So there are people all over this world and other countries that may not have the same parenting techniques that the United States would agree with. You know, somebody might say something like, well, for example, my child is jumping off the top of the couch. He's flicking me off with a finger. He's not listening to me. He's screaming. He's drawing on the walls. What do I do? And some people would get on there and be like, well, they deserve a spanking or the such. And then the backlash starts. So once the backlash starts, then we have to shut it down. We have to turn off commenting, because this poster is not looking for what you may or may not believe in. This poster is looking for solutions, not your beliefs. And not that we don't believe in your opinion, but they can get pretty heated. So we have to shut it down. Or just like things like somebody can ask a question, like saying something, for instance, like, I've heard I can get SSI, Social Security Disability, for my child that has ADHD. How would I go about this? And then people can come on and just say rude things like, you know, quote, you should not have disability for your ADHD, or it's not a disability, stuff like that. So we do have to monitor those comments, which becomes very, very hard, because when you're trying to read and go through comments on hundreds and hundreds of posts a day, it's really hard to keep up on. So there are a few that do slip through, and people do get angry and they get frustrated and they message me, or they message one of my other admins about it. And we do try to keep it, you know, where we just obviate all that negativity.
Awesome. Yeah. And so it becomes a full-time job, it sounds like, just maintaining this stuff. I mean,
it is. And I have 5 admins and 1 moderator. So we do try to keep it really.
Got it. Well, I noticed that you also have some people coming in, like you mentioned when we talked earlier about a hemp organization that came in and was trying to post stuff on there, and you shut that down.
Yes.
Does that happen a lot, or?
It seems to only be big with the CBD oil and the usage for it, with taking it, mind you, THC free. or giving it to a child with ADHD or a teenager to help with ADHD. So obviously there's a lot of people now who are breaking into the CBD world, and they have questions, and they have, they're constantly posting like, what can CBD do for my child, or can I use it, or what's the dosage, or, so we have hundreds of posts in there in the group that have been asked and answered. And we feel that we don't need to approve any more CBD posts, because if you do a search in our group, the letters CBD, like hundreds of posts will pull up.
Right.
You have all your resources where you need them in a search. So we feel like we just stopped approving any posts about CBD, because what was happening is this one company, another large Facebook group came in and used that as their platform for their MLM, and started cold messaging members of the group who asked about CBD. And it was getting brought back to my attention by a couple of frustrated group members. Like, we didn't ask for this, and it's unsolicited. So again, zero tolerance. Came to find out that 12 of the members that were in this, I don't know what to call it, like group, were all like distributors for BrainWorx. So I had to make a post and basically say, like, if you work for BrainWorx and you cold message my members, you will be blocked immediately and removed from the group without further warning. Gone. Wow. Because they're using that as their platform to get to whatever level they need to get.
Right. Yeah.
To rank up in their MLM, and that's not what we're there for.
No,
we're not there to sell. We're there to be parents and guardians and share struggles and solutions, and how we can come together as a community and help each other in this very difficult struggle that we have every day with our children.
Yeah, and that's great. You're protecting your community, and that's really what I think people want to know, that they're protected going in, so they can share things that are vulnerable, or really trying to get solutions, and not helping somebody build their downline or something like that.
And I do try to be very interactive with my group. I'm not one of those admins that's behind the sidelines and really does not interact with her group or their group. I try to be very interactive with my group. I try to respond to comments. I try to respond to posts. I do a fun little MAME Monday where we all get our kiddos off to school and we share a GIF or a meme showing about how our morning went, because some mornings are great and some mornings are crazy and you're like, So I do what I call MAME Monday. So we have a little fun in there too. And then I have a Wacky Wednesday where we can post in the thread, quotes that inspire us or stuff like that. Things that we see about relating to mental illness or mental health or ADHD or ODD or anything, those kind of memes. So so I try to be interactive with the group to keep the group going and flowing, and keep the conversations going. So we're not just a group of 25,000 people and there's absolutely nothing going on in that group, because then that group is useless. So I want to keep it going and making it interactive, so people are communicating, people are posting, and people are like, we love this group, and we're so happy we found it.
Wow, that's crazy. So you're doing what you can. I mean, you sound like a nonprofit. Are you able to take donations or anything like that?
We haven't really crossed that bridge yet.
Okay. It sounds like a full-time job, and that you.
It is something that I might consider in the future. Because my whole goal is awareness.
Right.
And being my son's advocate and being his voice when he was 7 and he didn't have a voice. I mean, now that he's almost 15, obviously he can, speak for himself to an extent. So, but he still struggles with, trying to find the words to get out. So I'm his biggest advocate, and I have to be there for him no matter what. And I always will be until he graduates from high school,
Yeah.
So that is like my whole life goal.
Right. Right. Well, that's fantastic. That's such a powerful thing that you're doing. And thank you on behalf of the 25,000 and on behalf of the ADHD Toolbox. Thank you for, the service that you do. And if there's any way we can support you, let us know, and we'll come together as a community as well.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to look off to the side. Oh. My little guy, he just walked out here. As a matter of fact, he's trying to sneak to get a drink.
Awesome. Oh, maybe you'll pop his head in. Well, hey, so people can find you on Facebook, ADHD Together. It's a safe place to come in. And if you have you want to search on there, you can search on there. Are there any extra features on Facebook that you put? Do you use the file section or any other sections? Or
I do use the file section. I do have a file section that differentiates the difference between a 504 plan and an IEP. So I do have a lot of, because there's also a lot of questions that pop up about IEPs and 504s and the difference. So I do have a file section, so it's easier for people from Attitude Magazine. And I think there might even be one from Chad in there. And it explains, and it's so people can go and just do a quick, look and see what they come up with. And I do use tags in the group. So it's, there are like mental health, behavioral health, hyperactive, impulsive, defiance, and again, positive focus. Those are all tags of the group that they will pop the group up, I guess, if you tag them. But if you just type in ADHD Together, you'll see the little green heart as the cover photo, and it says ADHD Together. And that's what we're here to do, is do this together, because we just need all the support we can get.
Yeah, and I've seen lots of posts of mothers just posting their, their child's photo, or maybe they're having a meltdown and they just want to vent, or maybe they're asking for support. Do you guys know how to handle this? And so it's, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to, or to know that you're not alone. And this is a great place to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much. We so appreciate you coming out, and obviously your free gift is to join the ADHD Together Facebook group. And again, just go on there. You might even want to send Dana a message, let her know that you came from the ADHD Toolbox.
Well, what I'm going to do is, after this meeting, and I talked to my assistant, other admin, Stacy, about what we're going to do is we are going to, because there's a series of 4 or 5 questions that you have to answer. One is, why do you want to be in this group? 2 is, do you participate in any MLM? And if so, what company? Do you agree to the group rules? So you have to, just basically answer those. So then what we're going to do is we're going to change and add another question that's going to ask if they are specifically joining this group through the ADHD Toolbox. So we will know that they came from you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well, thank you again for being on our program. Thank you for sharing and everything you do. Is there anything I'm missing that you might want to add to our conversation today?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, good. I thought we covered everything, but I wanted to make sure that we got everything, and that you've said everything you wanted to say. So again, if you're going to join these things, know that there's a lot of love and sweat and tears behind producing these groups and maintaining these groups, and people are not getting paid for this stuff. So when you go in there, thank these people when you get a chance, and put out loving thoughts, and stay away from the haters, because we as a community, we can come together and solve the problems like we are with both ADHD Together and the ADHD Toolbox. So thank you so much for being a part of it, and thank you, Dana, for being on our show today on this episode of the ADHD Toolbox.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. We'll see you guys on the next episode.